Hey everyone, Ellen here. Originally, I was going to have one bonus episode from the live show in March of 2025, but there was just so much great stuff in there, I decided to split it into two parts. So, this first one is going to be my interview with Broadband member Karen Dee and the Broadband reunion performance. And my interview with Ann Powers will be in the next episode. So, here we go. Enjoy.
Hi, everybody. My name is Ellen Angelico. Welcome to Girl in a Hurry Live. For those of you who don't know why you're here, I made a podcast about a woman named Shelly Bush. She was a remarkable woman who changed my life and the lives of a lot of people here in the room tonight. Tonight is being recorded for a bonus episode of the podcast, so please don't shout anything out you're not comfortable with me broadcasting to the public. Shelly passed away 10 years ago, and I thought it was high time she got her due. This show is the culmination of 5 years of work, and I'm super proud of the podcast and proud to be a small part of Shelly's story. First up, if everybody's game, and even if you're not, I'd like to record a message for Shelly's business partner, Garnet, who has bad knees and couldn't make it. So everybody say, hello, Garnet, on 3. 1, 2, 3. Hello, Garnet! That's very good. Another person who couldn't be here tonight is Shelly's mom, Shirley. I talk to Shirley all the time now, and she's just an angel. I was playing at somewhere crappy on Printer's Alley, and I got a call from her, and I stepped out into the alley, and she dictated this message for me to read. This note is from Shelly's mom. Wish I could be there, but I would just cry. I miss Shelly so much. I'm all alone now. Shelly's dad died on my birthday. The last Christmas Shelly was home, I asked her, Shelly, don't you wish you had brothers and sisters? And she looked at me and said, Mom, I do have brothers and sisters. They're in Nashville, and I got to choose them, and I love them like my family. Thanks, everyone, for being Shelly's friends and brothers and sisters, and I love you all, too. So that's the message from Shirley to all of you. All these people who were so close to Shelly, like her mom, Garnet, Shelly's cousin Sheila is here. She came in from out of town to be here tonight. I want you to know, and I want Shirley and Garnet to know, and everybody who's so close to her, all her family back in Missouri, her best friend Brenda, that we think about Shelly all the time. I think I can speak for everybody here tonight who played with Shelly, and her memory lives on in our hearts. The women who are going to get up and play here tonight, and there's loads of other women like them in town, these people are Shelly's legacy. It's them, and it's the way they carry themselves in the world, the way they make music. You guys are amazing people and musicians, and I'm proud to call you my friends. And this story wouldn't be here without you guys. So we're going to have some fun tonight. We're going to talk to Karen Dee and Ann Powers, and we're going to have a live performance featuring members of Shelly's band. I'm really excited about that. And at the end of the evening, we're going to have a few minutes for audience questions. Start thinking of questions now so that part of the show isn't super awkward. First up, we've got a live interview with Karen Dee, and Nick, if you'll hit the music, we'll be back after a short break. Thanks so much, y'all. Actually, I decided that break is short enough. Let's just go. Hi, Karen.
Hello, Ellen. I'm going to try not to cry,
Okay.
for one, just saying.
I'm going to try not to make you
A
cry.
lot of memories, a lot of great memories.
Hey, speaking of memories, I had a listening party at my house for the members of Broadband a few weeks ago, and we got to talking about something interesting to me. You mentioned how Paula Jo, when she first came to town, had to learn 1 million songs for Shelly, and when you switched from drums to bass, the songs that you taught to Paula Jo, then she had to teach them to you. And that's a theme that comes up a lot in the podcast, people learning how to play music in Shelly's band. Can you talk about how that played out and what it was like to learn on the fly like that?
Well, first of all, I didn't teach PJ anything. She just worked her rear off to learn all of Shelly's songs in the girl keys and guy songs and girl keys, which is difficult. Erin Holloman was playing bass on the road with Broadband, and Erin's in Vegas now, for those of you who don't know her. But Erin got pregnant, and so that's, the one thing for a girl band that you can't always factor in. And so,
Pregnancy?
Yeah, pregnancy. What you get? Just put out the band. What the hell? But anyway, so I understood the instrument. My mom plays bass, so I had kind of messed around with the instrument my whole life. But when it got right down to it, and we couldn't find another player, I just told Shelly, I'm like, I'll just switch me to bass and I will woodshed. And, you know, you have to give me a couple of gigs downtown here and there to try to keep up and learn with the other girls as they're learning new songs and stuff. But there were several songs during that time that, yeah, we'd be on stage and literally Paula Joe is just dragging me through, you know, Crazy and, you know, stuff like that. Those little more complicated songs. And I was just always grateful and appreciative to her for just teaching me a lot of stuff.
You did that for me too, and you were a much more experienced bass player by the time that I was in Shelly's band, but you play bass in a way that taught me the songs. I never didn't know what chord we were headed for, you know, from the way that you played, because you didn't always have time to shout the chords at me or to give me what they were, you know.
Just do this, Ellen.
Yeah. That's right. In the podcast, I describe you as my hero, which is true. I think for me, it's a combination of who you are as a musician and a person, as well as your sense of humor. Did you find that your sense of humor helped you survive life on the road with Broadband with Shelly?
Oh, for sure. But just for me, sense of humor is the way I can survive life in general, regardless of the situation, whether it's in a band or just every day, because people are crazy. Just saying. But yeah, you know how it is when you're on the road and you're all just exhausted and you're basically punch drunk, you know, everything's just super funny or everyone's crying. Like I said, it's girls.
Yeah. It's funny because it, like, at the time, it didn't always feel that funny. But when we tell the stories now, it's like, yeah.
It was stressful.
It was stressful.
I mean, there was a lot of stress. We would play 2 shifts on a Thursday and then jump in a van and drive 16 hours. Show up in somewhere in, you know, the Upper Peninsula of Michigan, you know, and you had a choice. Do I want to eat or do I want to shower? You know, we cut it really that close so many times. So, yeah, there was a lot of stress involved, but you just roll with it. Just do it.
I told Mandy that I was going to try to run, like, kind of a tight ship time-wise today, and she was like, it's the first time a Shelly show is going to run on time.
That's for sure.
What made someone a good bandmate in Broadband? Or conversely, what made them a bad one? Not to
I don't
incriminate
really
anybody.
recall having bad bandmates. I felt like for the most part, for the number of hours that we were all locked up together in a tuna can, that we held it together pretty good. I'm not going to say we didn't have moments, you know, Nebraska, but...
Wait, tell me what happened in Nebraska.
Well, one of the girls in the band insisted that she could only be happy if we had Starbucks. And believe it or not, it was not Shelly.
Yeah, I was going to say.
It was not Shelly at that time, so it was some drama because it, you know, killed an hour on a 24-hour drive already. Those moments were tense.
How long does it take to get from here to Sturgis?
24 hours.
24 hours.
It did for us. I'm not sure what normal, you know, the normal, but, you know, you're stopping every hour for someone to use the bathroom or someone to get another cup of coffee or, you know.
And did you stop halfway and stay somewhere in Minnesota or something?
No.
Just drove 24 hours to Sturgis.
I recall the last time I believe we did Sturgis, we came back through Missouri maybe, Karen, and played the state fair. I think we played like 14 gigs in 9 days or something. And that was not just like walk in like this and pull out a stick. It was like you're tearing up and, you know.
Right. You're pulling the
twice
whole
a day.
PA and everything out of the van.
Yes.
And that's like, you know, this type of traveling is not comfortable. Like you don't lay down in your bunk. And
We rotated the back couch. You know, everyone would have a chance to lay down.
Why did we do that? How did we like?
We wanted to be rock stars, man.
Yeah, I couldn't do that now. We were talking about that, like that hustle. We just can't do that now.
No, it's definitely a young person's sport.
We've both played in a lot of bands and played a lot of different kinds of music, and there was stuff that happened in Shelly's band that just didn't happen in other bands. Why was that? What was it about Shelly that attracted all this wackiness?
I'm not sure. I don't know. I mean,
It was wacky people sometimes too.
yeah, a little bit of that, I'm sure.
You kind of, trying to say this in a way that is kind. You didn't always know, like if Shelly had hired somebody to fill in, you didn't always know that they were going to hit the marks. And you had to be willing to take them along with you and kind of show them what it was.
Yes.
There were times I remember, especially towards the end of Shelly's life, when we were doing those 2 to 6 at the full moon, and there was one particular drummer who we had trouble with, who just couldn't keep time through the whole thing, or like couldn't shuffle, or always shuffled. It was always something wrong. And I just remember you playing the bass, just being like, like on Devil or whatever, just like pounding through to the basement of the full moon to get this girl to go with you.
That's possible.
Playing bass and drums at the same time. It was, again, it wasn't funny in the moment, but now I think about you doing that, and it's funny.
Challenge.
It was a challenge. I hope I wasn't ever that challenging.
No.
What was the strangest or most unexpected gig you played with Shelly, where you rolled up in the van and you were like, here?
Shelly always liked to go to Wisconsin in the summertime and play a lot of the festivals and stuff up there, the Oshkosh and Country USA and Cadott. The strangest gig was on one of those tours because she was trying to piece enough stuff together to pay us to go up there, you know, and we basically played a bowling alley. We actually played 2 bowling alleys that week. One was very nice. One was nice with a dance floor and a big bar and everything like this, but the other one was literally like, I think I have a picture of me looking like my head's in the claw machine, because my drums were sitting right in front of the claw machine. So I had to take a picture of my face and like a stuffed animal.
Did you guys haul the PA into that bowling alley? Like they
Yes.
didn't normally have a band there?
Correct. Because what Shelly would do, she would call and say, you know, I'm looking for work, you know, can we do a band? And she's like, well, I don't normally have music in here. When Shelly's like, well, so let's do it, you know. And so that's kind of the bowling alley thing was kind of that. Well, we're just going to come in and play.
One of my favorite stories that you tell in the podcast is of the time that you guys were playing at Second Fiddle and Shelly looked across the street and saw that the full moon was opening up. Can you tell that story?
As soon as the door was open, or that she could go in there and talk to someone, she was over there talking to Galen, trying to book some gigs. And
She just put the band on autopilot and...
oh, you guys sing a couple, I'll be right back. That kind of thing, which was fine. Everybody in the band's always sang pretty much.
She would do that a lot. She would do that to, you know, take a call, like book some more gigs.
2 phones,
2 phones,
always.
which I've heard is like a sketchy thing. I have 2 phones now because I work for this guitar company and they've got a phone for me. And I've got 2 phones, and my understanding is I could conduct illicit business on one of them. Anyway, that's just an aside.
We'll talk about that later.
What were we talking about? Oh yeah, Shelly's running around leaving gigs. Can you explain another fun Shelly phenomenon, which was where she would occasionally leave her vehicles during gigs on Broadway?
Well, years ago, you could actually park on 5th.
You can park on Broadway.
Yeah, you could park on Broadway, and you could park on 5th right there by the Ryman, because it was one way at the time. And she was towed like every other day. And then they did finally, though, I think that once they realized whose van it was, they actually kind of started leaving it alone.
I definitely remember times that we were playing Layla's and she had the van out in front of Layla's with the flashers on for like most of the gig.
The loading song.
Yeah, just left it. And then like would leave, would say, hey, play a couple songs if there was a need to move it. But it's funny, you couldn't do that now.
No. There's no parking anywhere now, much less on Lower Broadway.
Another theme that comes up in the podcast that this makes me think of is Shelly's relentless work ethic. How did that energy affect the band and then people around her?
Well, I mean, she just had so much work. I mean, you could, you just work as much as you wanted to, sometimes maybe more than you wanted to. But, she was just that relentless that, if you were kind of in the gang, you were just along for the ride. So, she'd send out an email at the first of the month or whatever with road gigs and miscellaneous stuff. And then she had, I don't even know how many regular shifts on Broadway, just that we knew, standing gigs or whatever on a weekly. So she was very busy.
I mean, it was as much work as you could possibly want.
Yes.
Like, if you wanted to play with Shelly,
Yes.
you had as many. I mean, when I got off the road, and Shelly didn't know me from Adam, it was just because Mandy said, hey, Ellen's getting off the road. And she was like, sure, what all gigs do you want? Like, I got this whole, like, it was like she opened up it was like a whole thing full of gigs. And I was overwhelmed because I hadn't done that type of gigging. I was like, so what songs do you do? And she was basically like, all of them. And sent me a list of songs that was like 5 pages long. And I remember, and I was sitting in this room that I rented from a lady who owned a bagel shop that I was doing wholesale deliveries for at the time. And I charted and charted and charted. I must have gone through like 3 Sharpies because it was just so much music. She really knew that much music.
Oh, yeah.
Mostly knew it.
Yeah, she did. She did. And in atypical chick singer fashion, she actually knew what key she sang things in. Not, the record or what. She actually knew. She had enough musical knowledge to understand that she needed to know those things.
Yeah, she really had, she had business acumen. Like, she knew what the expectations were, and she tried to meet them. Something that Beth said in the podcast that I hadn't really thought about was the way that Shelly standardized the list of girl songs. You played with other people besides Shelly before Shelly. Did you find that was true?
I would say so, but I think that if you're down there enough, that everybody's there's a 20 or 25 songs that every band is going to play.
Yeah. There was something different about Shelly, though, on Broadway. Well, there was many things that were different about her, but the most noticeable one to me was the all-female band, or even just the mostly female band. I mean, when she was on Broadway, she wasn't always trying to do broadband. Like, it was just whoever was around, and it happened to be mostly chicks most of the time. Did you feel that got you and Shelly more opportunities, fewer opportunities, or just different opportunities?
I would say at the time, definitely more opportunities. Shelly was booking a lot of casinos, and she had done gigs for a long time downtown and all around town and traveling before it was all girls. And then it just happened that a lot of the people that she was using on a regular were female, and she had an agent that recommended to her that if she could make it an all-female thing, it would definitely be beneficial as far as booking road work.
Because she was almost there.
Yes.
Because it was like almost an all-female band.
Yes. Usually the missing link was the guitar, because that is by nature not a feminine instrument.
Yeah, it's hard. Even today, it's hard to find
Yes.
people who can, like women or non-men who can play guitar at a really high level.
Yes.
In country, anyway. I feel like I see it more in rock and pop.
I mean, even people like Bonnie Raitt, they're not chicken picking.
Right.
They're very good, they're very talented, and they're awesome at what they do, but it's not the same as what Nashville grows you into.
And it's funny because now that I've been out of downtown, I don't have that facility. We were just talking about that. Like, I don't have that same. You dropped me into Layla's with the, with KP or the Rishis or whoever, and it's time for Orange Blossom Special, and I'm just gonna boom chick until it's over. Like, I don't have the technical skill that I used to have because it was demanding. Playing with Shelly was demanding.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
Yeah. You're an amazing storyteller, and you make me laugh so much. Can you please tell me the story of little Jimmy Jacker, and can you explain what was going through your head while all that went down?
we were booked on a Mardi Gras party in Gulf Shores at the convention center, very large venue. We're all pretty pumped up, and we're excited. It's big production with lighting and a sound company and all that. And I think Amy was playing drums and I was on bass. And Shelly liked to start with Hicktown. Then she'd do Here for the Party, like as a 2-song medley. And we kick it. No, we kick it and we're playing and we're vamping and she doesn't come in. And so we're just like, go. She panicked. I guess she forgot the lyrics, but the first line, I'm not even for sure what it's supposed to be.
Little Jimmy Jackson is jacking up his Bronco.
Yeah, little Jimmy Jackson is jacking up his Bronco, but she said, little Jimmy Jacker is jacking up his Johnson. I mean, needless to say, the seriousness of the moment of the gig and everything, we all lost it. Yeah. Paul was crying. I'm just crying. I'm laughing so hard. And Amy, you have to know Amy, but we just couldn't stop laughing. It was really hard to kind of regroup after that. But Shelly had this way too. When she knew she messed something up, she'd just turn around and she'd just give you this look like, what, like what now? And we just couldn't help her because no one could speak. We were just could not stop laughing.
Was that also the gig that Amy found something unexpected backstage?
In the green room.
Now, that story didn't make it into the podcast. Can you tell that story?
So we show up at the venue, and over to the side there are rooms, and plain as day, there's a room that's with Broadband's, name. Broadband, there's your green room. We'll bring you some food later. Okay, great. So Amy's going to take her backpack or changing of clothes and everything, put them in the green room till we got through sound check. Well, I guess the prior event was still happening in that room, which involved a pole and a scantily clad female. But Amy's like, oh, are y'all sure this is our room? Just all these dudes in there. It was interesting.
Something that gets discussed amply in the podcast is Shelly's incredible ability to mess up lyrics and land on her feet. And sometimes it was unintentional, and sometimes it was intentional to avoid a certain topic. She didn't want to sing about marijuana, and so in Toes, she said, gonna lay in the hot sun and get me a sunburn instead of roll a big fat one, and I just couldn't. I mean, there were so many lyric stories that didn't make it into the podcast that were incredible, like the classics, like she was in the backyard sitting on a picket fence. She was in the backyard sitting on a picket fence. And I mean, it's just like she was sitting where?
Well, in The Devil, she left out a verse. When you're singing The Devil, if you leave out any of the lyrics, then the story doesn't all come together. She just gets to that one verse and she said, the devil said, get on, boy.
There was one time towards the end of Shelly's life that she sang the first verse of Devil and then went right to the last verse, which, if you're familiar with Devil Went Down to Georgia, eliminates the whole middle. Like the whole plot, the devil and the guitar solo, the whole bit.
The showdown.
And I think it was you and me and maybe Leon, and it was, and we just got to the end and it was like, and we were like,
that was the fastest rendition.
Looking around, like, I guess we're not going to keep going. There were so many that didn't make it into the podcast. And if you ever want to know just like dozens of these, come up to me anytime and I will read them for you off of my phone. But Luther told me one at the party that I hadn't heard. It's the Martina McBride song, My Baby Loves Me Just the Way That I Am. And the real lyric is, he never tells me I'm not good enough. Just gives me unconditional love. Thank you. And Shelly goes, he never tells me I'm not good enough. Likes my nerve and he loves my stuff. And Luther says, well, Shelly, you must have some real stuff.
It's too bad. Luther had another story that he was going to tell that night at your house too about Shelly at Legends Corner.
Can you tell it?
I can. Shelly had in the beginning of her career, she had a wireless mic that was a little iffy at times. It might just cut out at random and there was this older gentleman, every time he came to town, he would find Shelly. He'd always come hear us play, and he would, he'd want to sit in and sing a couple of older country songs, and we were glad to have him. Nice enough fella, but he went by the name of Captain Country. So Shelly's going to introduce and get Captain Country up to sing, and as she's getting ready to announce Captain Country, her mic cut out. At just the exact right
Just before she got to the tree of country.
Yes.
I see.
Yes. How do you recover from that? I mean, really?
But she did somehow, like it was like none of this was ever a real big deal to her.
No.
Like she just kind of kept right on.
Shelly had an ability to let difficult things roll off of her in a way that is enviable, actually. I think because she had a lot to overcome.
Yeah.
So she was a pretty tough girl.
Yeah, she was. If she was here today, what do you think she'd think about the fact that we're all sitting around still talking about her? I don't think it would surprise her one bit.
I don't think it would surprise her, and I think, honestly, it would make her very proud. I feel like that it would make her very happy, but only if she could sing. Only if we, make the Shelly zone.
Right.
With 14 books and 10 CD stands.
Yep. Yeah.
All that made Shelly.
Her little milk crate with the charts in it. Her huge, pull behind zip thing with all of the, her legal pads and notebooks and...
She had quite a lot of stuff to move around down there on Lower Broadway. She'd be rolling that suitcase and that little CD cart from Layla's over to the Full Moon and back and forth.
Well, Karen, thank you so much for agreeing to do this and sitting down and talking to me. We're going to take a few minutes here and have a changeover, and then we're going to... what did you say? Clear it up and make it Shelly time?
That's it.
We're going to clear it up and make it Shelly time.
Real quick.
Yeah. Please.
I would just like to say, first of all, this is such a blessing, what you have done. I'm not sure that you understand that, but I think all of us, we get it. It takes a lot of time, a lot of energy, and a lot of effort, and I'm very grateful. I appreciate you, Ellen. You're just such a talented person in so many ways. And when I started listening to the podcast, it just gave me a whole another level of appreciation for your gifts.
Thanks, Karen. I love you.
I love you too, Will.
Well, I'll just say that podcast software is very good right now, and any idiot can do it. But I do appreciate that.
Oh, then sign me up.
Yeah, Karen. I'm telling you, I'm serious. The feedback that I've gotten so far is that we need a Karen podcast. So watch out for that.
Never be able to stay on the air.
Have an exorbitant amount of money to pay me, and we'll get this Karen Dee podcast on the road. But anyway, we're going to change over and get Broadband up here, and we'll be right back. Thanks, y'all.
Yeah.
Are y'all good to start?
Yes.
I think we're good to start, Nick. All right, we're back. I'd like to introduce the folks on stage. Y'all have already met Karen Dee. She's playing the drums. One of my very best friends in the world, Mandy Schuker, is on bass. She's over there. The viral granny guitarist herself, Paula Jo Taylor, legend, is on electric guitar. The underrated, funny, and wonderful Karen Pendley is on fiddle. And with the biggest job of all, the great Emily Peck is here to sing lead vocals.
Is it all right if I say something?
I mean, do you think I got a
okay?
real tight grip on this?
Okay.
No.
I just want to say what an honor it is for me to fill this spot, and I'm getting a little emotional just doing it. Because the only reason I get to be here right now is because she's gone. And that's always been a struggle for me. So bear with me if I struggle through the first few verses or lines. And it's pretty big shoes to fill. I feel like a little 5-year-old in my mama's shoes right now. So
Emily filled in a lot for Shelly
Yeah.
after she passed because Shelly booked so many gigs that they just kept coming
yeah.
for a little while.
Yes.
So
And while I wasn't a part of like what you guys were all doing all the time, I felt kind of like I was. And, you know, for her to be that gracious and to extend to other female singers the welcoming red carpet that she did to give us gigs, it's I think uncommon.
Yeah.
For
Yeah.
that graciousness that she had to like support other singers, which, you know, sometimes they talk about things being cutthroat. And she was not that way at all. And never said a bad word about anyone. And if she did, you know, they really screwed up. So
You're right. Yeah, she wasn't
So-
she wasn't precious about that kind of thing.
Right.
A lot of us got where we are because Shelly gave us a chance. I feel that way about myself. So here's the thing. We did original music with Shelly from time to time. We know a couple of her songs really well, but she made like 85 billion CDs. And so I was going through all of this music, and when I came across this song, Girl in a Hurry, I just about felt, you know, my clothes spontaneously lifted off of my body. I was so surprised because it couldn't have, obviously she was talking about a romantic partner in that song, but it couldn't have been a more fitting metaphor for her life. Here's the thing though, it's just got so many chords. And that's probably partly why we didn't really play it a lot downtown. So we're gonna go ahead and get the hard one out of the way, and then we'll do the one we know better. So cut us a little slack because this one's got 2 chords per bar pretty much the whole time, and it's all different. And we know most chords. Anyway, let's. I use chords. I play chords every day.
I know there's something you wanna get off your chest. I'm not sure what it is, but honey, I can guess, 'cause I'm quick like that. Oh, don't you know? While you're standing around, hemming and hawing, dragging your feet, nothing but stalling. I've got people to meet, baby, I've got places to go. I'm a girl in a hurry, so make up your mind. If you don't know what you want, you will leave you behind. Life's too short and there's no time to worry. If you're gonna break my heart, make it fast. I'm a girl in a hurry. Feels like I'm a souped up automobile while you're standing around. I'm just sitting in my wheels, never been the type to sit back and go with the flow. Are you playing no grip? I got any younger. There's a whole lot to do, and I still got the hunger. When I'm 92, then I'll take it slow. I'm a girl in a hurry, so make up your mind. If you don't know what you want, then I'll leave you behind. Life is short and there's no time to worry. If you're gonna break my heart, make it fast. I'm a girl in a hurry.
Hell yeah. Look, I think it probably doesn't need me to say, it's probably self-evident that these are some of the finest musicians that I know. And I know a lot of musicians. So y'all, hire these people for your band and stuff. This next one we're gonna do is an all-time favorite Shelly song. This is the Shelly song that I remember playing the most. We know this one a lot better. In fact, we know it better than it is on the record. I was surprised when I listened to the record to find that it was in D flat, not D, and the tag doesn't push. But we're gonna do it the way that Shelly did it, in D, not D flat, with the tag pushing. All right, let's go.
Cardboard and bubble wrap, CDs and photographs, headlights pointed toward the Dixon County line. White lines and open road, song on the radio, strong cup of coffee for the drive. There's a little pawn shop out by the overpass. Your diamond ring is paying for the gas. And now I'm halfway to Memphis with everything I need, packed up in boxes in the backseat. I've got mama's favorite Bible and a million memories. What matters most, I'm taking with me. Right down to my favorite pair of shoes. The only thing I believe in is you. I tried believing, search for every reason. I held on till there was nothing left to hold. But all you ever gave me was a broken heart and shattered dreams. There's something somewhere down the road. Now with every mile I leave you behind, your memory fades and I feel more alive. And now I'm halfway to Memphis with everything I need, packed up in boxes in the backseat. I've got mama's faded Bible and a million memories. What matters most,
Thank you all so much. We're going to have a quick changeover, and we're going to be back with Ann Powers.
Girl in a Hurry was produced and edited by me, Ellen Angelico. This episode was mixed by Liv Lombardi. Special thanks to Karen Fiddleman and Michael Eads.